See, next lesson is about perspective. 2 dimensions or 3 dimensions. Important is that you feel happy about what you're doing again. I can't emphasize this enough. And then just try doing it and be happy trying doing it. 2 dimensions or 3 dimensions. I use these sketches again. We talked about the 2 dimensions looking from one side. You can look for different sides, but we choose to look from one side. Or we can do it in 3 dimensions where you see more information in the same actual drawing. But remember, you only need to make enough information to tell a solution. You don't have to make too much. That will just be difficult and take more time. See, 2 dimensions is looking from one side of a product. This is from the front. We look in on the front side. If we look from one side, other side here, it's very slim. It's almost nothing because it's a piece of paper. But we look in the perspective view, we see that the lines kind of disappear into our image. The same goes on here. Look on the side, all lines are in the correct measurements. But if we look at a perspective drawing, we can only have one line in the right, and the other things will disappear into through the horizon line. And this is what we're going to talk about in this lesson. Perspective and in 3 dimensions and the 2-dimensional flat drawing. See, a box, a simple box, can be illustrated differently. You can have a box like this, and you can see it from one side. This is this side. You can see it from the top, or you can see it from the end. This is the box illustrated in flat 2D. Top, we write top, side, and front. Front, side, and top. In this sense, in a 2-dimensional view, we have it from different sides, and we can make it so we can measure the length and be more precise about text and ideas. When you sketch, you always, a lot of time we always sketch obviously in 3D, 3 dimensions. 3D we call it, 3 dimensions. And we have a sketch where you have the perspective where the lines are going towards the horizon. Or we have what we call an isometric drawing. It's kind of a perspective, but while all the lines you see, they are parallel, same distance. So we can actually use this and measure this line. We can also measure this line. And in that sense, we have a measurable where all the lines have the correct distances and sizes, and they are parallel. This is easy to do with a ruler, like just a simple ruler like this. And this requires a little bit about knowing about some horizon and some points to aim for. And I'll show you that now. See, as I told you, the simple isometric drawing is simply to take a ruler, start saying, I need my first vertical corner. Then I need one line going backwards and another line going the other way. Then I started out. Then I need to make the same line here as in the height, parallel. You look at this line down here, has to be parallel up here, and in the back parallel. So this is parallel to this, and to this. This vertical line, the corner line, has to be vertical here and in the back side. And where the back side hits the top line, well, I draw a parallel line, and a parallel line. So in that sense, I have some key points which I use to connect the lines, to draw the lines. And that's a simple isometric drawing. It is basic, but it can tell a lot of information. Remember one thing. It's okay to use guidelines, simple lines. We can cover them afterwards. So we have a square hole. It of course has a parallel to this, and has a parallel to this, and to this. And in that sense, eventually we have a square hole where this side is the same length as this. If we want to draw a circular hole, then, and this is, I know it is a bit advanced, but we'll tell it quickly. Then when you do it in perspective on isometric views, this would be an ellipse. An ellipse is like if you have a circle. The ellipse is, you can say, the flat version where the lines, these sides, or you can say the key points, are shorter on one side than the other side. In that sense, it looks as it is, as a hole that has been laid down in the box. The perspective is a bit more advanced, but I'll tell you quickly how you can help making guidelines. See, what you need is you need to define. You remember when you look out in nature, you always have the horizon. So we make a horizon line. We make it a bit up on the paper. You have the midlines here. So we make it a bit up here because we need to have it in the back. When you can become better to draw, you can add it and move it below the product, but we make it up so we can look down on a box. You have, as you see here, like a phone, but you have, if you look at it, it will eventually look like the box in the drawing we're going to do. And the more we tilt it, the more difficult it is to tell about the differences. So we want to look at it like this eventually. See, when you need to do a perspective like this up here, you need to have some vanishing points. You need to have something to aim to, like we had in the parallel lines. So what I do is I make two points all the way out on the side. And then I define, I say, okay, my corner edge on my box, the first corner, I need to know that line, and I want to have it here. This is top, this is bottom. Then I aim for my aim point. Remember the aim point's out here. I can emphasize it with a red. 2 aim points and the front line. Then I aim for that, for these points, and I do the same over here. Then I say, I feel, and this is about feeling and looking, I think it's a bit like this long and flat. So I make a vertical line, and then I have 2 new points here, a top point and bottom point defined by my lines. So I aim for that again, and that's why the ruler is very good. See, this line down here, it will disappear eventually, but for the help, we'll have it there. Then I think, oh, it's about this wide. Vertical line, vertical, vertical. Then I have a top point, bottom point, and I can, and again, aim for this, and aim for this. Now I have a lot of lines, but look at this over here. They're crossing. We'll make it a line. Then now I have a box. So I can take my ruler. I can do it like this. Yeah, and it's even okay to do like this. Use your free hand. And now, as you see, you have a box. And what you can do is, you can put it here, under the paper. And I can see through the paper. And I can quickly get a sketch, which we can work on later. I know this is very quickly told, but this is the way perspective in general works. And when you become better, you just do it by hand. You do it like this, and it disappears toward this, and like this, and suddenly the perspective is up there, and you can draw many lines, and eventually you decide which one is the right, and you add a little more power, and your sketch is working your way out by freehand and using all the lines you need to define it. Don't worry about that. We'll clear that up, and I'll show a trick how that can be tightened up very soon. Good luck and have fun.